quickly, this week the tutorial for lab committee is Wednesday, Friday before school or Friday after school for lab committee. Sign up is over here. Today we're going to start colligative properties lab. Number one, you really need to listen and understand what's going on. If you have any questions before we go back in lab, ask them. Otherwise you'll end up like fifth period was and they had no clue when they got back there. So make sure you understand what we're doing. We're going to finish that lab up next time. And then the test is available from the 7th to the 13th. So make sure you're taking your pre-test and getting your sapling done. All right, so we are going to be working with dialysis tubing today. We are going to be working with little clamps that are sort of a pain in the butt to get to SIL. We learned last period, so those of you that have strength in your hands will probably be an advantage there compared to those of us that don't. But we're going to be doing 5 different ones that we're going to be setting up, so 5 beakers. So we're going to be pulling more beakers out of the cupboard, okay, because everybody needs 5. So let me go really quickly to your lab and just sort of explain a little bit more looking at your lab. So as we go to your lab, the first thing that I want you to do is actually go down to part D. This is when you go back to lab, this is the part that I would like you to do first. It's part D. It says, fill a plastic beaker. Instead of a beaker, go ahead and cross beaker out and just put styrofoam cup there. Okay, because we need enough ice that will work and the beakers won't be that big. So a styrofoam cup full of ice. You're going to weigh the styrofoam cup first. Get the weight of the styrofoam cup, go back and get the ice. Please do not use the styrofoam cup to scoop the ice. Use the scooper. And to get to the ice machine in the back lab, you go to the very far side, turn right or turn left, and then it is right by the fridge. Okay? You're going to then weigh it again. So you're weighing the ice and the styrofoam cup again. Once you weighed it, you're going to dump it in a beaker that has a stirring rod if you have a hot plate that has a stirring rod. If not, you're going to go grab a stirring rod and every once in a while stir it. Okay? You want to get another 100 milliliters of water, and you're going to weigh it in the styrofoam cup. So you want the mass of the water. Then you can add the water and the ice together to get the total amount of water in mass. Okay? You're going to put that on your hot plate, but not turn on the heat. Okay, that's important. Don't turn on the heat. If you've got a stirring hot plate, then you're going to turn the magnetic stirrer on, and you're going to put your temperature probe in there and get the lowest temperature it will get to. Then you're going to go get a little teeny plastic beaker full of rock salt, and after you've got that low temperature, you're going to put that on. Get to the right where we are at. Okay. Ice water with no salt, that would be the freezing point you get without the salt. Then you're going to dump the salt in and get the lowest temperature of the solution, saltwater solution. Okay, once you've got the lowest temperature, then you're going to crank the heat like crazy and you're going to let it go and let it boil. You want the boiling temperature. You don't have to graph it, you don't have to do anything, you just want it to get it to boil. Just make sure my temperature probes don't have the wire touching the hot. Okay, so it really doesn't matter if it stirs or not at this point. That's why the ones without stirring are there, but you can speed it up by stirring it. This boiling water with no salt should have been from a couple labs back when we just did it in here. Remember that lab we did? It took forever to get it to boil water. We need that temperature. So you just grab it from a lab before. Okay, the temperature of the boiling water solution, that's the saltwater solution that we want. So that's the part you want to get going first. Everybody understand this part? Okay, so now we're going to go back and we're going to talk about the next part. The next part, you actually have to go to data and you have to do the calculations before you go back and do grab anything. So let me see if it will let me. It will. Okay, remember that molarity is equal to moles divided by liters, right? We're going to be making 100 milliliters of this solution. So 100 milliliters of the NaCl solution, which is equal to 0.1 liters. Everybody okay with that? Okay, so you have to figure out how many moles. Well, you have 0.25 molarity equals moles and that was moles, I didn't want to write, divided by 0.1 liters, which is going to give you 0.025 moles of NaCl. At that point, you should be able to convert to grams. You're going to have to add up sodium and chlorine, it's about 58, times it by the moles, you'll get amount. That goes here. This is what I should have weighed out. Now we know sometimes it's hard to weigh exactly that amount out. So once you get this figured out, you're going to go to the scale and you're going to try and weigh out. Instead of staying there forever, get close, write down what you actually weighed out on the next one. Okay? Then, what is your actual molarity? You're going to take that grams that you weighed out from here. Whoops, see if I can get it to right. Come on. So from 2, you're going to take your grams, and then you'll... love this, love this. I don't like writing in Word, because it does that every time. So you're going to take the grams there, and you're going to divide it by the mass of NaCl. Keep coming back to it, and put 1 mole on the top. You'll also divide it by the 0.1 liters to get to molarity. So you're just going backwards, okay? And you'll put your actual solution here. You'll show me the volumetric flask. So after you weigh out your amount of NaCl, you're going to put it in your volumetric flask. Now what do you do? Let's review real quick. How do you make a molar solution? You're going to add some distilled water about halfway full. You're going to swirl it, right? Then you're going to bring it up to the meniscus like this. Once you're going to bring it up to the bottom of the neck, stop, go get a micropipette or a dropper so you can drop it so that you get right to that bottom of that meniscus. Don't go over. Once you've got that mixed, you come show me, I stamp it, and you go on to the next one. You're going to do the same thing with sugar. You're going to make up 0.25 molal sugar solution. Molal is just moles per kilogram, remember. And for water, 1 gram equals 1 milliliter, so I can change that really quickly and get the molal. Okay, so on this part B, when you go back to your lab here on part B, you're going to be figuring out, sorry, went too far. No, come on. On part B, you're going to figure out how much you need to weigh out to make that molal solution. Okay? I have colored the salt and the sugar so it's easy to visually see if you've got the right concentration or not. Okay, do not throw away either one of these. Once you make one up, pour it into a beaker, keep it. Once you make the other one up, pour it into a beaker, keep it. Okay, we're going to be using them later. So it goes through again, weighing stuff out, how much you needed, blah, blah, blah. When you get to part C, this is where you're going to use everything. This is where you need the 5 beakers. You're going to label a beaker A, B, C, D, E. Okay? And then you're going to use dialysis tubing. So when you go to start A, you're going to grab some dialysis tubing. And dialysis tubing comes in a thing like this, and it's taped right now. But it's like sort of like a plastic papery fill. I'll have to get this off. But you're going to cut 4 strips of about 8 centimeters. Don't go smaller. If you go a little bit bigger, it's okay, but don't go smaller. Okay? Once you get them, you're going to put them in distilled water and just let them sit while you're making your solutions. Then when you get them, after they've sat a while, you have to sort of rub it like this to open them up. And I've got a clip on the bottom of this one. But you're going to take and you're going to fill 1 with red, 1 with blue, and 2 with distilled water. So you're going to do 4 total, okay? And it tells you what ones you're putting in what container. Okay, so you're going to fill this, and then you're going to twist the end and sort of fold it over and put the clamp on the end. Now, we've had some problems with these clamps. They tend to leak, so sometimes you're going to have to take your scupula and open this up again and try again. So make sure you fold it over on the end. Don't just put it on like this because it will tend to leak more. But if you twist it and fold it over, it doesn't leak as much. Okay? So once you've got those, you're going to dry these off. You're going to weigh them. And then you're going to put them into respective solutions. Okay, so I have two that are clear with distilled water. One will go in the red solution, one will go in the blue solution. Before I put those in, though, I need to make a red solution, one of these, and a blue solution, one of these. And then the very bottom one, come on, it's not letting me see, but the bottom one is a prune. So you just go grab a prune, weigh the prune out, and you put it in distilled water. Okay, that's all you do today. Once you get that done, you come get a stamp and you're done. Okay? Does everybody understand what needs to be done today? Yes, Jonathan? That's the mass before. When we come back next time, we'll get the mass after. We'll dry them off. We'll get the mass after. Okay, any questions? Yes?
We're just putting that into the solution.
So after you fill it up and you close both ends, you're drying it, weighing it, and then you'll put it in the appropriate solution. Now, everybody's going to have 5 beakers. They're not all going to be the same size because we're running out. Make sure that your group, you label A and put your names on it and period. So we can get it. I'm going to have a cart. There'll just be 7th period, and we'll put it off to the side. Okay? Make sure your area's cleaned up and you can get cleanup stamp. Questions? We good? Goggles mandatory. Apron's your choice. Let's go.